Hi, it's Miss Sims again, and today we are going to learn all about our water flask holder. So some of the supplies you're going to need is a skein of cotton yarn, pair of scissors, your hook. This is a J today, but I would probably use an I, and your tapestry needle. So come join us and let's make our water bottle holder. We're ready to begin. Go ahead and start with your slip knot. Put your hook in, pull it tight. You're going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we're going to make a circle with this chain by slipping our head into the first stitch. This one's the white stitch. You're going to yarn over, pull through the white, and then pull through the one you're working in. So if you put your finger in, you can kind of see a little circle. Now you are going to chain 2, and you're going to put 12 double crochets into the hole. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4. So here's your circle, except that you're going to put 11 double crochets into the circle. This first one, the one that you chain up to, acts as the first double crochet. So if I had to count it, it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Once you get to the end, you're going to slip stitch in the top stitch of that first crochet. It's this V stitch here. This is the chaining up, and then I like to slip stitch into this one. So for the next row, you are going to crochet 2 chains up, and then you are going to put 2 in each of these stitches for a total of 24. So I'm going to start by putting another one into this stitch by yarning over. So right now this would be considered 2 stitches, 1, 2, and then 3, 4. I'm going to just double check you, make sure that you put 2 stitches in the same stitch. So here's the hole I'm working in. Here's 1, here's 2. I'm going to go into the next stitch. So yarn over, put it in the next stitch, pull through 1, pull through both, yarn over, and go ahead and put it into the same stitch. If you don't know which one you're working in, go ahead and pull it. You should have this hole, and you're going to put another one inside here. Remember, this is called an increase, and we're increasing the 12 into 24 stitches so that we make it bigger. So we are at the end, and you can see it lays nice and flat. And then I'm going to go ahead and slip stitch into the top of this next stitch. So here's my chain going up the next row, and then I'm going to slip stitch in this row. So this is the base of our water bottle holder. The one thing that we're going to start next is there's a couple things you can do. You can either make it bigger, or you can leave this as is, and it'll start to come out bigger. But you're going to chain 2, and then this time, instead of putting 2 in each one, we're going to put 1 in each one for a total of 24 stitches. So, but this time, since I want to make it look like a base, I'm going to put 1 in the back stitch of the V stitch. So instead of going under the V stitch, I'm going to go in the back of the V stitch. So yarn over, go into the back or the top of the V stitch. And we did this in our bag project, so you should know how to do that. Yarn over, put it in the top of the V. So this just kind of creates a base for your water bottle holder so that when it goes up, it looks like it's sitting flat. So I'm going to go all the way around for you, and I will meet you back at the end. in just a moment. We are at the end of our third row. I'm going to have and count it. 1, 2, 3. You're going to do the same thing to connect it. So go ahead up to the slip stitch. You might be wondering where exactly it is. So this is the slip stitch from the previous row. And then there's 1, 2, and on the third one, we're going to slip stitch it. So let me put it in this one. And this time we're going under the V-stitch again, not in the back stitch this time. So under the V-stitch. This is where we're going to start seeing a pattern. So the first thing you're going to do, and this always counts as 1 double crochet, is chain 2. You're going to go into the same stitch and you're going to put in 5 into each of the double crochets below you. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now this is where we're going to start seeing a pattern. So we are going to create some windows. When you look at the water bottle, it has like bigger holes in it. And this is how you do the bigger hole. It's called a window. So you're going to chain 1, skip this stitch, and double crochet into the next one. So chain 1, skip, double crochet. And you're going to create 3 windows. Chain 1, skip, double crochet. So that's 2 windows. See how big they are? And then chain 1, skip, double crochet. Now we're going to go back to our 5 double crochets in a row. I'm going to count this one as one of the 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now we're going to go back to the window, chain 1, yarn over, skip this one, go into the next one, chain 1, yarn over, skip this one, go into the next, and then we're going to do 5 more, or 4 more actually. 1, this one counts as 1, 2, and we're going to add 1 more here, 3. So there should be 4 in a row. Let me pull some more yarn for you. And then we're going to slip stitch. Yarn over and pull through. And we're going to do that same pattern going up to the next one. 1, 2, and we're going to do that 7 times going up to create our water bottle holder. I've gone ahead and switched because I had another one ready for you, and I wanted to show you how building with the windows makes it a lot bigger. So I'm going to count the rows for you. Actually, I'm going to slip my hand in here so you can see how many rows I did of the window. And here's my windows right here. So I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 rows of window. And then I'm going to do the same thing and slip stitch into the top stitch for you. And this part here, I'm just going to do single crochets around. It kind of gives it a different texture of the water bottle holder. So I'm just going to show you how to do that. I did a slip stitch and I chained 1, and I'm going to go into the same stitch and just do a single crochet. You should know how to do this. We did lots of it on the bag project. So I'm just going to go around and I'm going to do 3 rows of single crochet. I'm not skipping any stitches. When I get to the window, I'm going to go under that bridge and do a single crochet. And then go into the top of the stitch, single crochet, go under the window, single crochet, and then go into the top of the stitch. So anytime you see a window, just go underneath it and then do your single crochet. I'm going to tighten this up a little bit. and then you go into the top of that double crochet stitch. So I'm going to finish up 3 rows for you. Just remember when you get to the end of the row, when you get to the end, which is over here, this is the part where we slip stitched it together. You have to be really careful. Don't put your single crochet in that one. We're going to slip stitch and count this one, 1, 2, and put it in this third one here. Slip stitch, pull it tight, and then pull it through the V-stitch, and then pull it through the same one you're working with. So we're going to do the next row, chain 1, then you're going to do single crochets in each of the stitches all the way around. I'm going to do this 3 times because I want it to look kind of different texture than just having the windows. So I'm going to go all the way around and do 1 more row for you, and then I'll show you how to get back into this pattern. Okay. I have successfully finished 3 rows. So I'm going to go ahead and count again. So here's 1 row, 2 rows, 3 rows. 1, 2, 3. Remember, we don't want to go into this stitch. 1, 2, 3. Slip stitch. And now we're going to start our pattern from before. So the old pattern was chain 2, 1, 2. And then we're going to do 5 stitches. 1, 5 double crochets. 2, 3. Get rid of some of this yarn. 4. Doubled count here. There's 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1 more, 5. And then we're going to start doing the windows. So chain 1, skip 1, double crochet into the next. Chain 1, skip 1, double crochet into the next. And 1 more time, chain 1, skip 1, and double crochet into the next. And then I'm going to do 5. 1, 2, and so on. I went ahead and did 3 rows of the windows with the double crochets. So here's the single crochet rows, 1, 2, 3, the double crochet rows with the windows, 1, 2, 3. Now I'm going to kind of just finish it off. So I did a slip stitch to connect it. I'm going to chain 1, and I'm going to put 2 rows of single crochets just to give it a finishing touch. So you chain 1 up, and then you put single crochets in the top of each of the stitches. Again, once you get to the windows, you go under the bridge and do your single crochet, and then go into the top stitch of the double crochet, and then go back underneath the bridge, single crochet, and then in the top of the double crochet. So I'm going to do 2 rows of this. Oops, yeah, 1 more. 2 rows of this, and then we'll finish it off, and I will teach you how to do the handle. I have done 2 rows of single crochet here. I'm at the very end. I'm going to count 1, this is the slip stitch from before, 2, that's the chain up, and 3 is the one I'm going to go into, which is the V-stitch from the top of the first single crochet. Now, this is the end of my holder. I'm going to cut and just pull it out, and I'm going to weave this end in. Well, I guess I could do it right now. So take your tapestry needle, weave it in. This is how I like to do my tapestry needle. Here is the hole that you were just working in. I like to go around the back under the V-stitch and pull it and up. And then I'm going to take this and I'm going to weave in the ends. So weaving in the ends just means you don't have a knot here, it's just kind of loose, but be aware of where it is because you don't want to pull it through. So I'm just going to weave in the ends, and I go through maybe about 1.5 inches, maybe 2 inches down the stitches. And then I'm going to pull it and then cut. So that's the top of our bag. Now this is actually the inside of the bag, so I'm going to pull it through. I can weave this in right now as well, but I'm going to pull it in, and then this is the right side of the bag. It looks like a sock. So next I'm going to show you how to do a handle for this, but right now it is ready to go. All right, handle. What you're going to do is do a slip knot, and you are going to find somewhere on here 4 stitches. So I'm just going to start in this one. I put my slip knot on here. I'm going to find a stitch. I'm going to put it in this yellow one, and then I'm just going to yarn over and slip stitch it. So now I'm on the hook. I'm going to chain 1, and I'm going to do a single crochet, and I'm going to do 4 single crochets. 2, 3, 4. I think I'm going to use a smaller hook because I don't want my handle to be so loopy. So let me get another smaller hook for you. I'm going to pull this back out, and now I'm using my H hook. So the H hook is going to give me a nice tight stitch. I'm going to single crochet and go across 2, 3, and 4. Now, this is almost like building a scarf. Once you get to the end, you're going to chain 1, flip it over, and then you are going to do 4 single crochets. Now, since you did a chain, you're going to go into the second chain from the hook. So 1, 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4. You should not have a problem with counting to 4. So I have 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4. Going to chain 1, flip it over, grab some more yarn, tighten it, second chain from the hook, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Chain 1, flip it over, and do the same thing. Now, we want our handle nice and flat. That is why we're going under that V stitch. We're not going into the top stitch like we did for our bag. So under, 1, 2, 3, and this is hard to see, so I'm just going to fill for it, 4. But I remember I counted, so shouldn't be a problem. Chain 1. I'm going to finish a nice long handle for you and then show you how to attach it to the other side. I'm all finished with the strap. Remember, I went across 4, and then this is about a foot. It's going to do some stretching, so you don't want to do it any longer than that, or you'll probably get tired of it, or it'll just be too much. So I went ahead and cut a nice long tail here, and this is what I'm going to use to do some sewing in. So when we get over here, I'm going to lay it out flat, and I'm going to make sure that it's straight, and this is what I'm going to use to sew it in with. So I have my sewing needle, my tapestry needle, and I'm going to do this, and I'm just going to go underneath one of the stitches, actually underneath a V stitch, and then through this one, and then underneath the V-stitch, and bring it up behind and underneath this V-stitch, and then another V-stitch. So I'm going to continue to do that and give myself some extra insurance here. Go around a couple of times because you don't want your handle coming apart. So I like to go through a couple times. Right now it's just been twice I've done it. And then if you need to, you can just kind of have to eyeball it. So I have this one here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut another piece. I have this little string hanging out here, so I'm just going to use it. So you want to be able to have two pieces that you can tie together. Kind of the same thing. This one's not as much of a problem as this one, but I want to make sure that I have two strings that I can tie together, in and out. So go in, and I think this is called a whip stitch. It doesn't really matter what it's called, but so going to tie this in a knot, double knot, so that it doesn't come apart. And then I'm going to weave this part in here to the other side so I can tie that in a knot as well. And then I'm just going to weave in the ends at the end. So since this is the outside, I probably want to do it on the inside. So I'm going to just poke it through here and then turn it around and weave it in and out here and here. See how it's underneath 4 stitches? Pull it and then grab the other part, this one, tie it in a knot. And all of these ends I'm going to weave in. So I'm going to flip it back to the other side again and show you how to weave in just a couple of these ends. Since it's tighter up here, I'm going to weave this into the tighter part because that way you won't be able to see it as much. So just going to weave it in through the top part. Doesn't really matter where it goes as long as it's weaved in at least an inch, inch and a half maybe. I like to stay a little bit close to each other and then pull through. Oh, I missed one, sorry. Sometimes that happens. Make sure you just weave it in again. And then this time I'm holding on to it so it doesn't get away from me. And then it's a little bit, like I said, very tight. And I'm just going to pull this through. Pull this through and then cut, and that will hide in your ends. Try not to cut your knots so it doesn't fall apart. I'm going to weave in one more for you, and then I'm going to show you how to finish it off, or show you that it's all finished once I'm done weaving all the ends in. And there's that cut. So I'm going to weave this in for you, this one, and I'm going to turn it inside out for you next. Okay. After you're all done weaving in the ends, go ahead and slip your cover on your water bottle, and away you go. Thanks for watching.